Alright, due to countless requests, I hereby upload my Effective Altruism Community Health Unconference talk. Okay, 2 requests. Anyway, the zeitgeisty title is Make EA Cool Again. First, a bit background about myself. I know EA through some friends, I attended one Less Wrong meetup, and together with 2 others I organize unofficial Wait But Why fan meetups for the European readers. Well, by now I have also attended the EA Community Health Unconference, but I hadn't when I gave the talk there, so let's pretend that didn't happen yet. As you might tell, I don't have too much experience with the EA community, so maybe I am about to slam into open doors, or slam into the wrong door. So please forgive me for any misconception I might have. However, maybe I can still contribute something at EA that I learned at the Wait But Why meetings. Oh, by the way, let me just casually and subtly slip this in. Feel free to join our community. We meet around once per year, have super awesome discussions, do mighty cool stuff and embrace the overall Wait But Why-ish atmosphere. Find us on www.generation-y.eu. Okay, so let me share with you my thoughts on EA. As far as I've heard, the central question of EA is, how can I do the most good with my limited resources? And evidence-based and high impact and all that. I get the feeling that an EA person has the impression that a normal person hearing this thinks, oh wow, this is really inspiring, I also want to be like this. However, my first impression was, ugh, so it's not enough to do good, I also have to be try-hard about it? Wait. So this is my first issue with EA. It's a very good and support-worthy cause, but it just seems super try-hard. Feminism and veganism have the same problem in my opinion, just to trigger everyone in the room here. My second issue has more of an engineering background. If the optimization process is part of the thing that has to be optimized, trying to find the optimum is not always optimal. Bear with me, I will elaborate on both points now. First, tryhardness. Tryhardness is the natural predator of coolness. Often it happens that if you try really hard to achieve something, you don't make it. You really want this to work out. You want to be liked and accepted and successful or whatever. You stress yourself, you feel a big amount of pressure. It just grinds you down or you lose motivation along the way. This applies to exams, job interviews, giving a talk, singing, exercising, hobby projects, dating, sex, relationships, I don't know yet but I bet parenting, personal management, meditation, you get the point. It's much more better if you just be cool about things. We distinguish 2 kinds of coolness, internal coolness and external coolness, and being try-hard inhibits both of them. Let's first dive into internal coolness. If you just do something casually, or cash as we cash people say, you often get the best results. You know, when you just start something just as a side thing, you don't even really pay attention, don't really take the thing seriously. You're like, yeah, whatever about it, but it takes off before you know. This, in my opinion, is the healthy way of approaching stuff. And I'm not saying you shouldn't care or you shouldn't put effort into things. I'm a firm believer that if you ever do anything at all, you might as well do your very best. But you can do your best and yet still be chillaxed and zen about it and not try hard. Just do the thing. Don't force it. If it doesn't work out, well yeah, screw it, you tried, no biggie, get up, brush off, next thing. Don't suppress sadness or frustration, but recover. Go your way, be cool with the world and with yourself. External coolness. By external coolness, I mean how cool you come across. When I think about my school days and which subjects I liked most, of course it was also a bit about how interesting the subject itself was, but a huge part was how cool the teacher was. And still today when I decide what to do, a large chunk of this decision depends on what people I get to hang out with. How much fun my job is largely influenced by my colleagues. And I think it's not just me making decisions based on that. Let me give you an example from real life that you can all identify with. For your robotics network, you need a messaging framework to handle communication with all your sensors and actors. You stumble across CORBA and ZeroMQ, and read a bit about both of them. CORBA is the acronym for Common Object Request Broker Architecture, OMG's vendor-independent architecture and infrastructure that computer applications use to work together over networks. Okay, ZeroMQ. The zero in ZeroMQ is all about trade-offs. On the one hand, this strange name lowers ZeroMQ's visibility on Google and Twitter. On the other hand, it annoys the heck out of some Danish folk who write us things like OMG Rødtvel and Ö is not a funny looking zero and Rødkrølmeflø, which is apparently an insult that means may your neighbors be the direct descendants of Grendel. Seems like a fair trade. And this is actually from the technical manual. I am immediately drawn to work with the second thing because the community seems fun. And we are talking about people who program a network messaging framework. Of course, the decision requires more investigation and the actual content is still kinda important-ish, but ZeroMQ clearly wins on the gut decision front. And we all know this is very important. And now we are cruising gradually into the optimization point. Let me repeat the theorem. If the optimization process is part of the thing that has to be optimized, trying to find the optimum is not always optimal. Sadly, I just vaguely remember the theorem and not how it's called, and I couldn't find it on Google. It is kind of the explore-exploit trade-off though. Thanks, Greg. Example. You want to navigate from A to B and you are trying to find the best way with a map. This first way kind of makes a dent and might be a bit longer than the other one. Therefore, this other one passes some more traffic lights. But before you sit there and contemplate for 10 minutes, you are likely faster if you just start even along the slowest of the ways. What I'm trying to subtly hint to, pay attention now, this will be in the exam. I think if EA focused a bit less on being effective and altruistic and took itself a bit less seriously and aimed a bit more towards being a cool and awesome and inspiring community that twice as many people want to be part of, it would spread the vibes much faster and its spirit and values along with it, which could potentially be way more effective. Also, if you are constantly concerned with how to do even more good, better, faster, to the point where you stress out over it instead of being content with just doing very good, you're just gonna die from burnout at some point, and you also turn potentially interested people off. But I noticed that EA people were pretty aware of that, at least on paper. Now I hear you think, but EA is super serious business and it's incredibly important. You can't take it seriously enough. Well, yes, but have you ever been to the emergency room? The doctors fool around and make fun all the time. It's so serious business that it's crucial to take it lightly or it will crush you. Okay, I think I hammered my point in. By now you all think, you have totally opened my eyes, but how do I be cool? Chillax, lean back, I got you covered. First, keep it cash. Don't take this thing you do and yourself too seriously, even if it is serious. By the way, this is a Cyrillic j, otherwise I could only spell Kaz or Cash or K. Second, just do it. This is a path to coolness that probably leads through tryhardness, but experience often helps a lot better than overthinking when it comes to keeping cool and radiating self-confidence. At some point you've just done all the worrying and bothering and things just don't shake you up as much anymore. 3. Hang out with the kind of people who are the way you want to be. I think that inspiration is one of the strongest forces for character development. Dog owners become like their dogs, little brothers strive to be like their bigger brothers, or the opposite, but then the big brother still has a lot of influence. I also remember back at our institute we were mostly non-smokers, and whenever we got a new employee who smoked, she or he or ze would quit it at some point because it felt stupid. That's how strong inspiration is. And it's even backed up by science. This is Fourier's law of thermal conduction. It describes the flow of heat, or coolness, from one body to another, depending on the temperature gradient and the insulation between them. So that means if you get close, reducing the distance in the denominator, to really cool people, increasing the temperature difference in the numerator, there's a larger flow of coolness from them to you. You might argue that it makes them less cool along the way, but I like to see it as you giving them warmth. 4. Meditate. If you do it right, meditating helps you order your thoughts and put things into perspective. You're a tiny fart on a moist spinning dust crumb in an infinity of mostly empty space. Anything you do matters very, very, very little in the grand scheme of things, so you might as well be chill and have fun. Meditating can help you realize this. 5. Do basic happiness stuffs. Exercise, eat healthily, spend time in nature, contribute, form relationships, have fun, do stress management, engage in spiritual activity. It doesn't actually make you cool, but it makes you happy, and being happy is pretty cool. Okay, pitfalls. Don't be try-hard cool. Nobody likes phonies. Be authentic, be genuine, own yourself. Don't be an asshole. Being cool means being cool about things and cool with things instead of being an annoying drama queen. It doesn't mean being cold and distant. Don't confuse not minding with not caring. And as with anything ever, don't overshoot. Okay, post disclaimer. Take all this with a grain of salt. I don't actually feel qualified to give a talk like this for two reasons. First, as I said, I don't really know much about EA. Second, for being able to give a talk about coolness, one should be the mother of self-confidence. But I'm actually cruising way out of my comfort zone here. But I still wanted to get this message across because I think it's important. Actually, as this is now a scripted, edited video, it's no longer much of a hustle to seem self-confident, but you know what I mean. Also, don't take this talk too seriously either. And if I offended you, then I feel like I have a point. Also, being a bit try-hard can be kinda nice. It shows you care. For further education on this topic, I recommend The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, although he comes across a bit dickish for my taste, but he still makes very good points. The Kurzgesagt episode Optimistic Nihilism, the Wait But Why article 7 Ways to Be Insufferable on Facebook, it has some nice negative examples. The South Park episode Butt Out on smoking also nicely shows the counterproductive effects of try-hard coolness. All recommendations and also all references are linked in the video description. Alright, that's it. Thanks for your attention.